My name is Donnella Seckerly, and I am an ally of individuals and families impacted by substance use disorder. Several years ago, I experienced a near mental collapse. At that time, I was reminded of the recovery of many of my friends had experienced through 12-step programs. As I sought my own recovery in an all recovery community, I made it my purpose to nurture environments that build on individual strengths and promote long-term recovery. So glad you're here today. I choose to speak out about recovery so that others may know that recovery is real, hope is alive, and you too can thrive. Now, to start off, I would like to introduce you to our executive board, and they are Janie South, myself, Donnella Seckerly, and Merlin Karst. I'm going to invite Janie up, but before I do, I want to tell you a little story. Janie and I worked together many years ago when I would share the impact that recovery had on my life and others. Knowing about my passion for recovery, Janie emailed me 1 year ago tomorrow asking me this question. Miss D, where are your passions leading you next year? Little did she know that 5 days earlier, I had resigned from my work in education, telling my colleagues that I would be focusing on supporting families in recovery, although I did not know where, when, or how. And here we are today, 1 year later, ready to launch the first recovery community organization in Orange County, The Purpose of Recovery. Janie, come on up.
Thank you, Donnella, and good afternoon. Welcome. I'm glad you're all with us today. My name is Janie Cao. From a family recovering journey, I naturally have gone through the typical stage of denial, angry, lost, and confusion. When I finally surfaced my head above the dark water, I found out not only my loved one, but a lot of the recovering peers are also struggling, more or less. And I found my family members and friends are still confused. It made me keenly aware that many obstacles and hidden challenges are along the way. It also made me fully recognize the importance of the needed support for you as a recovering peers. I guess I can throw a lot of keywords for support, like making connections, families, friends, sponsors, and more. But what strikes me the most of this recovering journey is finding truth to ourselves, finding the value that you see to yourself, and finding the purpose of our lives. Through this, I found my purpose. My purpose is to support you. And yet, how? My little lived experience, without knowing the landscape of what you have gone through, I struggled. Thanks to a lot of friends and families, I found comfort knowing that I'm not fighting this by myself. The family peer support allow me to believe and actually see there is a light at the end of the tunnel. That got me through the most difficult time and allow me to stand on my own feet right now. I felt the peer support and the peer coach that got me through to this ought to be the support to all of you and your families. This is in addition to whatever your current path, recovering path that you're on. Coach is someone with the same lived experience that connects with you to guide you with your own decision. So then I searched Orange County and found no organization that offer peer coach. Hence, the purpose of recovery is established just to offer that, then more, of course. And if this concept is new to you today, because we're the first organization to roll this out, I know there will be a lot more in the future. thanks to the hard work of the team, especially thanks to Merlin and Danala, we're happy and ready to share with our vision with you today. I want to thank my family, my own family, that I learned to be more compassionate and loving each other from a different perspective. We all know recovery is a lifelong journey. Just to know that we're here alongside with you. Again, I'm very happy that you're with us today. So next, I'd like to go ahead and bring up Merlin Karst for you.
I'm going to interject just a moment because I felt to give some housekeeping. And Janie, that was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Beautiful. So just for a few housekeeping items, our good friend Susan Emerson is on here, and she's going to keep track of any questions that you might have in the chat box. So make sure and post your questions to the chat box, and Susan will help sort those out and feed those to us here as we get a little bit further into our presentation. And also, if you could keep your mics muted, that helps. We do have some background noise here. Like I mentioned, we have a few people in the room and we're sharing one feed. And in the unlikely event of a Zoom bomb, we will immediately cease our presentation and connect with you all at another time. One or two other things I need to let you know is we are recording this today, and we also may occasionally just say the word or the acronym TPOR. It's become second nature to all of us, but anytime we say TPOR, we are referring to the purpose of recovery. So now, without further ado, I would like to bring up Merlin Karst. Merlin, come share your story.
Thank you. I want to say first, thank you very much, Janie, for making my mask all wet. Let's start. Thank you for your virtual presence, and you know, I virtually am Merlin Karst, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. That simply means I haven't found it necessary to have a drink of alcohol for the last 22 years, and that was my only drink of choice. They asked me, well, how much did you drink? And I said, enough, until it wasn't. I only learned another thing early on. Alcohol is out to kill us, but first it wants to get us alone. I found that basically I needed to retire early from a corporate existence, and it was wonderful, but I became a consultant, and then I had to pay some consequences for driving drunk. And in doing so, I got acquainted with Nancy Clark's alternative sentencing program. And it was amazing. No jail time. And the positive experience led me to stay with the program as administrator, actually, for several years. The time in those recovery centers, instead of jail, saved lives, families, and productive careers. In sustained recovery, I've had a full and healthy life. It's lasted 88 years. I'm old because of recovery. I immediately stayed with the program, and after 27 years in Orange County, my wife and I located to Denver, Colorado. I immediately went back looking for what was going on in the whole realm of justice, and particularly alternative sentencing. And so in that, a few of us managed to go to St. Paul, Minnesota in 2001. And as we came together, we found the meeting was centering around something, and that is that I need to not chop the head off. Oh, I feel much better now. That's good. But we needed to here's what happened. When we got there, we determined one thing, that by our silence, we let others define us. And so we set about putting a face and a voice on recovery with respect to anonymity and its role in recovery. We had to pay attention to that. We developed a new language, an identity, and a message. And so that individuals could stand up, stand out, speak out, and be proud about it and about that reality of their recovery, their recovery. Faces and Voices of Recovery was born. It birthed a movement that is now national, international. We adjourned the meeting with the words, "From here, let's go make some history." We did, and we are. I was privileged to be Faces and Voices board chair for some 6 years. When we left St. Paul, I went back and we began Advocates for Recovery Colorado. We wanted to be grassroots. We featured advocacy, peer support services, training, and community events. We assisted in bringing the Betty Ford Children's Program to Denver. And I learned very quickly the value of executive directors and whether the organization is national or recovery communities, they're key. And so I praise and appreciate Pat, Patty, Tonya, and now Donella. A few months ago, we moved back to California in Orange County from Denver. Denver was the birthplace of an organization many of you know as the Phoenix. The Phoenix is now growing nationally and internationally. Besides renewing a relationship with the Phoenix, I made contact with Laura DePrini. And through Lauren, I was introduced to Donella, and through her, Janie. And our common interest was the development of a recovery community organization, an RCO, that could serve the needs and interests of a variety of those principally involved in substance use disorders. We wanted to be a catalyst for expanding peer specialist training and support with an eye to providing an interest and a path to a career. Though Donella and Jeannie and I have not physically met until this week, 6 feet apart, the three of us have contributed to the Zoom boom through countless virtual meetings, attended several trainings and conferences. Following the work of Donella and several others, we are together today to share progress in the development of our new RCO, the Purpose of Recovery. We invite you to be a part of our purpose and promise as we become a collective of the purpose and the promise of recovery for all. As our logo portrays, our heart is truly in it. But we must always remember, they won't care about what we know until they know we care. Thank you.